So I took it to John and Bridget. Amazingly, I'm still amazed they said yes, and I'm really relieved they did, because, you know, Bridget's a very highly respected feature producer and she chooses her projects very carefully. John Smithson's a rock star in that world, and I knew that it's, from Screen Australia's point of view, having Bridget on, it's, you know, we're asking for a lot of money. That gave them confidence. Having John Smithson attached gave everybody confidence, and what it did was it helped us get financed. And I just pragmatically knew that if I wanted to make this film on this budget, I was going to have to do that. I wasn't going to go, no, but I want to make it all myself and own everything. It was about just making the film. No, I didn't storyboard it at all, but what we did was they write scripts beforehand. So they did the big, you know, Walter, you know, we'd had hours on the phone just talking about, you know, for him to really unpack and understand what it is I'm trying to say, and he would force me to go away and write these log lines and go, no, not good enough, and go and do another one. It was great. Yeah, the solid state. And so then they send a few script options, and then we go, okay, we're thinking this, but I don't like that, but what about this? They had, I think, way too much text in the first version, and we pulled some of that back, and it went through a few iterations, but they're really clever with that, and it's what they do. They make trailers. And in fact, we went back to this trailer to then make the final trailer. Yeah. It was like, but what happened, the stroke of luck that happened, was the week we started cutting this, that fight broke out and we got those news reports. And that was what dramatically really sets up the fact that there is tension brewing, and that was at the heart of what the story was really about. Look, I mean, I think it's a little bit horses for courses, I think. I'm one of those people, I think, now that I've got kids and everything, I think time is money, and I could never edit anything like that. And the editors that I work with in long form couldn't do it either. I had done a development shoot, so I'd been to Darjeeling to interview Jumling, Tenzing Norgay's son, who did that great line, which we wrote for the trailer, which was, you know, in 1953, 2 men climbed Everest, 1 man was knighted, the other man was my father, because it kind of encapsulates the idea in many ways that this is a story about lack of recognition and acknowledgement and that kind of thing. So that part was in the shoot, and then his interview from that shoot ended up in the finished film. But the rest of it, some of the stuff I had shot on other expeditions, but 90% of it was then fabulous stuff from, turns out most of it was Renan Ozturk. So, I mean, the essence of the story is, that, you know, and where drama is conflict, it is there is conflict between these two cultures, you know, the haves and the have-nots. And for me, it was about the disproportionate risk that the Sherpas take. So it was something like, you know, I'll look it up. I'll actually look it up. It'll be on an email somewhere. Yeah, that will probably be revealing, actually, to look back at it and see if it still holds true, actually. Because I think it was about, as well, the fact that they have to do this work is spiritually at odds. You know, so it's a great cultural, spiritual cost as well.
Were you in pre-production at that time?
Yeah, we were so we had development funding, and we were so no kind of we weren't financed, no. Yeah. So we weren't technically pre-production.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's
just,
just,
I like that emphasis of like, this is happening.
Get on board.
Like we're doing it. Jump on now.
And that's what it is. It's purely designed. From the producer of Touching the Void. I mean, every time I mention John Smithson, like at the Sydney Film Festival, I'm like, and John, you know, produced Touching the Void. Everyone, you know, you get this gasp, and then people start clapping. You know, like it's a film that everyone has heard of, and it's like if there's any. So what have we got to instill confidence? It's like, yes, this is happening. But this is big, it's cinematic, it's going to be amazing, and there is conflict. And so it's a confidence building exercise. Because you want someone just to sign on the dotted line in the room, and that's what happened. I had written, you know, probably a longer thing and then condensed it down to a really concisely written 1-pager. I did 6 months lecturing at AFTRS, and I had this cubicle buddy, Alan Palmer, who's a screenwriting lecturer there, and he would help me, you know, he's really good at that kind of narrative shaping, and he helped me a little bit with it, and I went over, I got some Screen Australia money to go to the World Congress of Science and Factual Producers, and contacted him in advance, and he remembered the film and whatever, and he remembered Solar, and we just had a meeting, and he said, I've been looking at Everest for a long time, but just haven't found the right angle. This is a great angle. But he was like, I'm not sure that it's a feature. I need to be convinced. And so we just kept talking, and you just click with certain people, and he and I, we just get on really well. We can talk more about his role in the edit, because there was a fair amount of, but good.